Hey everyone, this is Nidhika Bahl, the celebrity life coach and the international best-selling author of the book The Queen of the Comeback, and I'm super excited to be here with you on Tuesday FB Live with Nidhika Bahl and talking today about the topic of how to deal with anger. I think that's a topic which is very prevalent these days when I get coaching clients. I get to hear that a lot of people are dealing with anger management issues these days. And I think one of the reasons for the rise of, anger in the overall being of human beings these days is because of the kind of stressful lives we lead. And there is an overall stress in terms of, how difficult it is to have a career these days because the gestation of a career is just about 2 to 3 years. Relationships are more challenging than they used to be earlier. It's hectic to raise kids in today's environment with the costs going up, and it's anyways difficult to sustain a living given the kind of health challenges people are dealing with at a very, very young age. So having said that, yes, people are a little bit on the edge overall, and the chances are that you are maybe one of them who's dealing with it, or you know someone who's dealing with it. So I would urge you to share this video with them so it could help them. So coming straight to the topic, of how to deal with anger, I think the first and the foremost important thing to understand is that anger is nothing but an emotion which rises when, you want to hide away from some very deep, vulnerable emotions like sadness or guilt or shame or regret or feeling small. All these emotions that we have which make us vulnerable, anger kind of works like a camouflage to them. So we all have human needs, as I always say that there are 6 human needs we all human beings have, and 2 of them are usually our top favorites. But irrespective, whatever may be your need, maybe your need is certainty, maybe you like variety in life, maybe you like importance, recognition and significance, maybe you like love and connection, maybe you enjoy growth, maybe you enjoy contributing beyond yourself to other people. But anytime any need is not met, one of the negative reactions to that is anger. So anytime we may feel rejected, not valued, not respected, anger may prop up. Or anytime we may feel that some injustice is being done against us, usually anger comes up in a very, very big way. And it does because it triggers in our mind a memory of something that we've dealt with earlier. It could be some incident from the childhood which made you feel bad, or some situation or some person. So usually the person you're getting triggered against is either he or she probably reminds you of somebody who you're upset with for a very long time, and that gets added on, or some situation or some statements which kind of trigger you, and therefore the anger props up. And as you all know that one of the easiest ways to deal with any emotion or feeling is to change your physiology, and we're going to get talking about a little bit of that in this video. But having said that, I think one of the things that I want to begin by saying is that never ever be scared of your emotions, because they are only there to bring something to your conscious mind. There is something that you have not liked, which is why an emotion like anger has come up. And if you can process that information, either by changing your perception about the situation or changing your behavior around the situation, you can very well deal with it. So literally dealing with anger is as good as 2 formats: change your perception, change your procedure. Now the question is, how are we going to do that, right? So I'm going to give you 4 tools which can help anyone and everyone to deal and cope with anger when it shoots up. Number 1, and I would like to call them the 4 W's. So number 1 is wait. Every time, psychology says that in our human mind, whenever there is a trigger, there is a response, right? So there is a stimulus and there's a response. And usually when anger shows up, it kind of encourages us to give an instant response. It encourages us to act in the now, in the moment, and react to the situation. It doesn't allow us to really sink in the information and respond with our intuitive mind. It creates a compulsion, a pressure to react with our a drama mind, so to say, if you were to put a name to it. So what you need to do is step number one, wait. And you can use this waiting period to enlarge the time gap between the stimulus and the response. And of course, waiting can be tough, and the easiest way to fill that gap is just change your breathing pattern. A lot of people who have anger issues also find smoking as a way of dealing with anger. And or maybe eating something, like a chocolate or some kind of food, because what it does, it basically helps them change their breathing pattern. So if you were to imagine, if somebody is getting angry, is getting flipped off, suddenly lights a cigarette and starts breathing, because in anger your breath is shortened, it's faster, and when you smoke, you inhale and you exhale, and it's pretty much same as it allows you to control your breath, the same as meditative breathing, right? So what happens, a lot of people get addicted to smoking as a result, or especially if they are from that, or some people get addicted to eating something, like something sweet, or drinking something, or they just change the physiology, or they start hitting something which changes their physiology, or they start throwing things around. But there is a healthier way to do that, and that is by just taking deep breaths. So anything flips you, you want to wait on it, you want to increase the gap between the stimulus and the response, and in this gap, all you want to do is take a deep breath in from your nose and exhale with your mouth. And if you can just do that 2-3 times, that moment of anger will subside, and your intuitive brain or your intellect will prevail and allow you to act in a way that's more responsive rather than more reactive. So that's number one. Number two is a wonder, and I would use that word because you want to ask yourself, you want to wonder, where is this anger really coming from? Because a lot of times a particular situation may trigger us, but what lies beneath is completely a different story. So if you really ask yourself that question, your mind will throw up the answers, because anytime you ask a question to your mind, you hook it and it's compelled to give you an answer. So the moment you ask yourself, where is this anger coming from? What exactly is triggering me? It's going to give you some answers, and you're going to get to the root of the problem. Many times I'm sure you've seen people on the road, every time they're in traffic, they're cursing the people around. If somebody overtakes them, they're losing it, and all that is doing is bringing down their energy vibrations, creating more drama in their life. And once you're at a lower energy vibration at the start of your day, or before you're going for a meeting or before you're going to work, it's going to impact your whole day. But if you are calm, if you just allow yourself to breathe in and you say, where exactly is this coming from? Am I feeling, small in a certain way? Am I feeling, beaten in a certain way? Am I feeling that, this person's overtaken me, therefore I've lost and this person is won? You want to get to the bottom of that trigger. And once you do, you'll be able to look at the situation more objectively and come up with more objective answers, that maybe this person is in a hurry, maybe he needs to get somewhere in time, maybe he has a flight to catch, maybe he needs to rush to the hospital because somebody is there, maybe he needs to go pick up his kid or her kid. And when you come up with these reasoning, you're not going to get too bothered about what's happening in the traffic, so you're going to relax. And I'm saying that because when I used to drive, and I'm from Delhi, and Delhi has had terrible traffic in the 90s, and that's when I had learned driving for the very first time. And when you're a learner, you are like a very nervous driver, and every time I would pull up the car, I would have a terrible day, because I would be like cursing people, can't they see the L board, why do they have to overtake me, and all of that drama would happen. But the moment one puts themselves in that situation and says, just relax, you're doing your own thing, they're doing their own thing. Maybe they just didn't see you. Maybe they just didn't see the L board. Maybe they were just too busy in their own world to notice you. And then you're like, okay, that's fine. I'm still learning. Maybe I should drive in the leftmost lane so I don't disturb the fast moving traffic, and so on and so forth. So it becomes easy to deal with that, right? So that's your number 2 W. Number 3 W would be what would my higher self do in this particular situation? And I think if that is a question you pop in, even if you can't stop and create that gap between the stimulus and the response, even if you can't go to the bottom of the problem and say, where is this coming from? If you just pop in this question which says, what would my higher self, or what would I ideally like to do in this situation, or what I would like to advise my child to behave like in this situation, or a best friend to behave like in this situation, you will find a better way of dealing it for sure. Because the moment you ask that question, your brain's going to give you some answers. And I always say that there is a 5x5 rule. If you're not going to get angry about something after 5 years, or mad about something after 5 years, or frustrated about something that's happening in the moment after 5 years, do not spend more than 5 minutes on it. It's not worth it, right? Your life is more precious than that. Your time is more precious than that. And you don't need to get stuck in the drama of things, right? So ask yourself, what would my higher self do in this particular situation? And I'm sure you will find amazing answers. And number 4W, and I think this one comes for me from Yale University. Yale University says that, your physical well-being, and of course the W stands for well-being, your physical well-being gets impacted if you're on and off in an angry mode to a large extent. And in fact, there was a research done which even said that your chances of heart attack go up by 9%, if you're usually in an anger mode all the time. And I know 9% doesn't sound very large, but after all, it's heart attack, right? So it's something we can avoid. But we know that it affects our mental well-being, our state, and when it does that, it brings down our vibration, it impacts our whole day. We not only spoil our own well-being, we end up spoiling other people's well-being, so creating bad karma out of it, so to say. So if you keep that in mind, that it's all about well-being, and I'm just choosing to be calm because it impacts my health, I think that could be your fourth W to deal with anger. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. If you have any questions around this topic, I would be very delighted to take them. But thank you everyone for logging in. It's been an awesome audience today, so thank you so much for being here. And I really appreciate the people, especially the ones who come in every week on week, to watch my videos, and also those who watch them later when the live is over at a convenient time, and always give me feedback of how much these videos are helping them. So thank you so much for that. I'm truly grateful for your patronage, and I'm absolutely humbled and honored to be able to serve you. Yeah, so if no questions coming up, then all I want to say is have an awesome week ahead, and I will connect with you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. with another wonderful topic on living a beautiful life and winning in the game of life. Thank you, and bye-bye. Love you guys.